Hopefully that's tonight.
Swing and a miss. Got him with a high, hard one. And Senga's got his first strikeout.
What if one game could define an entire season? A single night where celebration turns to desperation, where heroes rise, and where the slimmest of margins separates a dream from a nightmare. For the New York Mets, locked in a brutal playoff race, this wasn't just another game against a rival. This was a stress test, a night that began with honoring a king and ended with the entire fan base holding its breath. The bullpen is exhausted, the stakes have never been higher, and every single pitch feels like it could be the one that changes everything. Welcome to Baseball Extra, where we go beyond the highlights. Today, we're breaking down a game that was an absolute roller coaster, a back-and-forth thriller that perfectly captures the beauty and the heartbreak of Mets baseball. Stick with us as we dive deep into every critical moment. All right, let's set the scene for this crucial matchup at Citi Field. Coming into this game, the Mets are clinging to that final wildcard spot by a thread. The energy in the city is electric, but it's also incredibly tense. The biggest concern, and it's been the story for the past few weeks, is the bullpen. Our starters have been struggling to go deep into games, forcing the bullpen to throw a staggering 24 and 2/3 innings in the last rotation cycle alone. That is simply not sustainable, especially when you're fighting for your playoff life. So all eyes are on Kodai Senga tonight. The mission is simple. He needs to give the team length, save the bullpen, and put them in a position to win. But before the first pitch, there was a truly special moment. The organization took the time to honor the one and only Pete Alonso, officially crowning him the Mets' new all-time home run king. We saw Pete, humble as ever, receiving a one-of-a-kind piece of art from the Cohen family. In his own words, he talked about how incredible it would be to be a Met for life. It was a perfect, feel-good moment celebrating a player who has become the heart and soul of this franchise. But as we all know, baseball has a way of turning celebration into high drama in the blink of an eye. On the other side, the Atlanta Braves sent Bryce Elder to the mound. Elder is a guy who lives and dies by the sinker. His entire game plan revolves around forcing weak contact and getting ground balls. For a Mets lineup that can be prone to hitting into double plays, this was going to be a fascinating battle of approaches. As the game gets underway, Kodai Senga looks determined. He knows exactly what's on his shoulders tonight. In the top of the first, he comes out firing. He faces Matt Olson, one of the premier power hitters in the league, and what does he do? He blows a high fastball right by him for his first strikeout of the night. You could feel the crowd breathe a collective sigh of relief. He was in command. We see a great defensive play from Pete Alonso in foul territory, making a tricky catch look easy. Senga is clearly in a rhythm, and he's using that famous ghost forkball to keep the Braves hitters completely off balance. Meanwhile, the Mets offense gets a taste of what Bryce Elder is all about in the bottom of the first. After a couple of singles from Juan Soto and Brandon Nimmo put runners on first and third, the Mets had a golden opportunity to strike first. This brought up the man of the hour, Pete Alonso, with a chance to drive in a run. But this is where Elder's game plan works to perfection. He throws that heavy sinker, Pete rolls over on it. And just like that, it's a tailor-made 5-4-3 double play. Inning over. It was a frustrating moment, but a perfect example of what makes Elder so effective. He lives for those situations. Through the first 2 innings, Senga is just dealing. He strikes out 2 more in the second, including a nasty forkball that freezes the hitter. He's efficient, he's confident, and he's giving Baseball Extra and all the fans exactly the start the Mets needed. We head to the bottom of the 3rd inning, still scoreless. It feels like one of those tight, tense games where the first team to score gains a massive advantage. Francisco Lindor steps up to the plate. He had grounded out his first time up, but you could tell he was seeing the ball well. Elder gets 2 strikes on him, but he leaves a pitch just a little too much over the plate. And Lindor, with that beautiful, powerful swing, absolutely crushes it. High in the air to deep center field. Michael Harris goes back, to the track, to the wall. He leaps, but it's gone. Solo home run for Francisco Lindor. That's his 22nd of the year, and it puts the Mets on the board, 1-0. The stadium just erupted. In a game this tight, a solo shot feels monumental. It was a massive lift, not just for the team, but for a fan base desperate for something to cheer about. For Elder, that's the 19th home run he's given up this season, a sign that while he gets ground balls, he can be vulnerable to the long ball when he makes a mistake. If you're a Mets fan, you know the fourth inning has felt like cursed ground for the starting pitchers lately. It was just last night that the Braves exploded for a 9-run inning, their biggest of the decade. So as we entered the top of the fourth, there was a definite sense of anxiety in the air. Senga gets the first 2 outs, and it looks like he might just conquer the fourth inning demons. But then, Ozzie Albies steps in. Albies is one of the most dangerous switch hitters in the game, and Senga leaves a fastball over the heart of the plate. Ozzie doesn't miss it. He turns on the pitch and sends it flying deep to right field. There was no doubt about this one. It's a solo home run, and just like that, the game is tied at 1-1. It was an immediate answer from the Braves. You could hear the boos from the Queens faithful, not because they dislike Ozzie, but out of pure frustration. First Linder, the switch-hitting shortstop, goes deep. Then Albies, the switch-hitting second baseman, answers right back. Senga manages to finish the inning, but the damage was done. The lead was gone. He continues to pitch well into the sixth, racking up 7 strikeouts on the night. But after a 2-out single from Michael Harris puts runners on the corners, manager Carlos Mendoza makes the walk to the mound. Senga is at 93 pitches. He's done his job, giving the team a quality start. But now, the game rests in the hands of that very tired bullpen. Tyler Rogers comes in to face Ozzie Albies, who already homered, and Albies delivers again. It's not a home run this time, but a soft, looping liner that drops perfectly into left field for an RBI single. The Braves take a 2-1 lead. It was a beautiful piece of situational hitting from Albies, who was quickly becoming the villain of the night. Heading into the bottom of the sixth, the momentum had completely shifted to the Braves. The Mets needed a response, and they needed it now. Francisco Linder, the hero from earlier, leads off the inning with a sharp single. The tying run is on base, and then the Mets decide to get aggressive. Linder takes off for second. The throw from the catcher is offline and sails into center field. Linder, running hard the whole way, pops up and sprints to third base. A stolen base and a throwing error puts the tying run just 90 feet away. That stolen base was also the Mets' 35th consecutive successful steal, tying a franchise record. This team was finding creative ways to manufacture runs. With runners on first and third, Brandon Nimmo comes up and does his job, lifting a sacrifice fly to left field. Linder tags up and scores easily. The game is tied 2-2, but the Mets weren't done. With Juan Soto now on first, he takes off on the pitch to Pete Alonso. The throw is late, and Soto is in safely. And with that, the Mets set a new franchise record, 36 consecutive successful stolen bases. An incredible achievement that speaks to their smart and aggressive base running. So now, the go-ahead run is in scoring position for the Polar Bear. The crowd is on its feet. The pitcher throws a fastball, and Pete does what he does best. He rips a line drive past the shortstop into left center field. Soto races around third and scores. The Mets take the lead 3-2. It's Pete Alonso's 99th RBI of the year, and it comes in the most clutch moment imaginable. On a night that started with celebrating his power, he delivers a go-ahead hit that could have massive implications for the playoff race. The energy at Citi Field is absolutely electric as we head into the late innings. The Mets have the lead, and they just need the bullpen to lock down the final 6 outs. But as we know, that's been easier said than done. In the top of the 8th, the call goes to Ryan Helsley, who has had a couple of rough outings recently. He's facing Michael Harris, who has been on fire, with 6 straight multi-hit games. Helsley delivers a pitch, and Harris just crushes it a laser into the left center field gap. It gets by the outfielder and rolls all the way to the wall. The speedy runner on first scores without a play, and Harris cruises into second with a game-tying RBI double. Just like that, it's 3-3. You could feel the air get sucked out of the stadium. Harris is simply in another zone right now. And who comes up next? Of course, it's Ozzie Albies, who was already driven in 2 of the Braves' runs. On the very first pitch he sees, he smokes a line drive deep down the right field line. It hits high off the wall, and by the time the Mets get the ball back in, another run has scored. An RBI double for Albies, his 3rd huge hit of the night. The Braves have taken a 4-3 lead. It was a stunning, lightning-fast comeback. Now we go to the bottom of the 9th. The Braves bring in their closer, Raisel Iglesias, to shut the door. He's throwing absolute gas, hitting 98 miles per hour on the radar gun. He gets the first 2 outs quickly, and the Mets are down to their final hope. But the Braves' defense holds strong. A fly ball to center field is caught, and that's the ball game. The Braves win it, 4-3. A truly heartbreaking loss for the Mets. They're 13th in the last 15 games. And more importantly, their lead for that final wildcard spot shrinks to just half a game. Wow, what a game. This one had everything. A pre-game ceremony for a franchise legend, a fantastic pitcher's duel, clutch home runs, record-breaking speed on the base paths, and ultimately, a gut-wrenching finish. This is the kind of game that defines a playoff race. The Mets fought hard. They rallied to take the lead, but in the end, the bullpen just couldn't hold on. You have to give credit to Ozzie Albies and Michael Harris, who were simply phenomenal for the Braves tonight. This loss stings, there's no doubt about it, but the season isn't over. The Mets have to find a way to bounce back tomorrow. It's going to be a wild finish to the season, and we'll be here to cover it every step of the way. What did you think of the game? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more deep dive analysis and passionate discussion about all things Mets baseball, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button and make sure you subscribe to Baseball Extra so you never miss an episode. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.